Hello, everyone, and welcome to INTERROTALK, where we talk about interrogation videos from, in this case, we're covering the interrogation or interview of Wendi Adelson very soon after her ex-husband was fatally shot. And it's a very sad and tragic incident. And as much as I don't love to talk about the criminals' names, and I like to talk about the victim, in this case, it's Dan Markel, it's sometimes unavoidable when we do things like this, where we're focusing on the actual person who is being interviewed. So with that, hello, and hey, Katie. Hi, happy Monday.
Yay, it's Monday.
It's Monday. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was really good. It was busy, as always. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
It's getting that time.
I have twin, almost 9-year-old girls, and they started cheer. So we had our first competition.
Oh my gosh!
This weekend. So it's insane.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah.
I didn't know. I knew you had the boys. I knew you had the boys that broke your television, but I didn't know you had.
Yeah.
How cute! And they're twins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I always wanted a twin.
Yeah.
Didn't we all, when we were kids, think that was just the coolest thing?
Yeah. And then I hear them fight, and I'm like, oh, they're just normal.
Yeah, that's good. Normal is very good. Well, hey, and so are you excited to get back to taking a look at this interrogation?
Yeah, I'm excited for what more is going to come. What
I know,
more is she going to say?
Was I right? Because it's those of you who have been watching us, Katie was not familiar with this case. I am obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but I've been really following this case for a couple of years. Oh, by the way, over the weekend, I read Dan Markel's mom's book called The Unveiling, and I meant to take better notes. But one of the things that really, she says fairly early on is how her and Dan would talk fairly regularly. I don't think daily, but on the weekly at least. And they were very close. And they would talk while he was driving until he pulled into his garage. And that on that day, and it's just such a reminder. These are real people really suffering, from this loss. But he on this day, he had to cut the conversation a little bit short so he could call that school, because Wendi wanted the kids to go to a different school, and it was not his, they needed to discuss it. And as you know, just leading up to setting some of the framework here. If you've been watching, thank you for watching. If you're new, it's not too late to catch up. I have a playlist here for you. Just let me know if you need that. But Wendi Adelson, who's being interviewed in these police videos that we're going through, and just offering our own live reaction type things, especially with Katie, it's a live reaction because she's never seen it before. Wendi conveniently wasn't able to speak to him for one reason or another, including she lost her voice until that very morning. Her voice sounded just fine. Usually when you lose your voice, it comes and goes. Now, this is a 5-hour interview, so that's one thing I'm noticing. It's like I don't recall her saying her throat was sore or anything during this time. She just kept talking. So just things. But yeah, reading that book, I wanted to read the book. It just came out like a month or two ago. It's fairly new on the and I think it's doing quite well. She's an accomplished writer. I think this is like her 10th book. She never thought she'd be writing about this, of course. But I had to brace myself and get myself in a mental state where I knew I could handle reading it, because it's just, to me, it's just such a sad situation. So sad case. So welcome everyone. Oh, hey, hi, Judy, the YouTube lawyer. Listening while multitasking. That's exactly the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Hi, Judy. I'm so glad you're here. Well, let's get started then. let's start sharing the screen. Let's see if I can pull this off this time. I just seem to be having technical issues all morning. So here we go. And we left off at 4:10 p.m., approximately 4:10 p.m. Tallahassee time. This is in Tallahassee. Dan was actually shot at 11 a.m. So at this point, we've been into the interview for over an hour now, about an hour and a half. Dan is in the hospital. He's still alive and fighting for his life. So I'm just going to back up a couple seconds and I went forward. Okay, let's go with 409 so we can kind of remember where we left off.
Jade would be a really good choice. Jade McPherson.
And I might be able to get these numbers because she doesn't have physics on her. And it's okay. And I know I don't have anything on friends either.
Other close friends that I would have be with me right now. This really close friend, his husband died last year. When I was a kid, and we spent a lot of time together, so she'd understand. But I don't want to do that to her.
Well, and I think maybe between Lynn and Jane,
Hopefully one of them. She might be traveling. It's just some more people are traveling all the time. Who else might be here?
what do you think Lynn and Jane would be kind of a good start?
Yeah.
So we can kind of start working on those things. Some things for you to think about when you meet your board. Sorry.
I just don't know how to talk about that.
You know your voice better than anyone else.
Right now, they were expecting. I don't know if Danny told them or not. The plan was he was going to take us swimming this afternoon, which is sort of out of the ordinary. And normally, I just pick him up, but I think he's leaving town for the weekend. I just feel a little extra time with the kids. So he's going to take them to Truesdale and bring them to my house. So sometimes plans change, right? Sometimes his flights are delayed from New York, and the kids say, I thought they call him Abba, which means father in Hebrew. They say, I thought this was an Abba day. What are you doing here? And I'd say, well, Abba's flight was late, so it's going to be a mommy day for a little while. So if there was a plan they were expecting, it would have been the go to the full plan, but they knew that it was time to be with me. So
I knew they were going to transition into
I'm just going to quick jump in here, Katie. You wouldn't know this, but you can tell from the, hey, Sophia. Hey, you can tell from the divorce back and forth the proceedings that were going back and forth that a lot of us have read and paid attention to. Thanks to Judy, the YouTube lawyer who's joining us today. Hey, that she wasn't all that flexible. She's kind of painting a picture here that, sometimes he was late and it's just mommy day. And this is, no, there was no real that kind of cooperation. She's definitely still storytelling here, in my opinion. And I would love if anyone else noticed this bit of storytelling at this point. She's painting a picture that didn't seem to accurately reflect what was going on. But that's just me.
Okay.
What you were saying. So for them, this is what they expect. Is I think for me to come pick them up is very normal.
Okay.
I don't know if I can drive my car right now.
And that's why we're going to try contacting some friends, kind of try to work out what options we can to help you do that. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
And then I'll come back and let you know and see how long it will take or see if I can find some photos.
My two friends that I was with for lunch when they came and found me, how did they find where I was?
How did they find where I was? First, she says, she's asking her,
the cops?
know where she was having lunch. How did they find where I was? with this open hand gesture. Now, remember how I mentioned the open hand, open palms usually denotes like some kind of honesty. I'm just being honest. I was watching, coincidentally, over the weekend, an episode from the behavior panel. And they really are body language experts, unlike me, who's just, this is just my personal opinion and all this. I am no expert on any of this legal stuff or on body language or behavior. But what they were actually going through the interrogation of Daryl Brooks, who was also recently found guilty of mowing down a whole bunch of people at the Waukesha, Wisconsin Christmas fair last year.
Yep.
Parade, excuse me. In any case, he does this open hand gesture. And interestingly, they said usually it's have mercy on me. Okay, when it's, yeah, so it's like, it can, usually in this case, they kept saying it over and over again, and they had a lot of funny anecdotes for it, which I can't remember. But I noticed that last week, I think I mentioned to you, she kept doing this.
Yep.
This.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm being honest with you. What do you have for me? It's kind of like, yeah. So here we go again. But yeah, she's actually asking her, how did you find me? First, she says, my two friends I was having lunch with, which I don't know what she was saying there. I think she's just trying to remind people that she has friends, lots of friends. But then she's like,
so many.
Saying, how did they find me?
Sorry, I forgot that she was having lunch with those two friends, and she needs somebody there to support her. Why isn't she calling one of them?
Well, they're discussing that right now, who to call.
Okay.
Why didn't someone go with her? If I was at lunch with my friends and the police came and and didn't say what it was for, because evidently they wouldn't tell her until she got there, I would be with my friend. Yeah. I would be like driving behind the police car or however they got her there. I don't know how they got there, but yeah, for sure.
So for them, this is what they expect. Is I think for me to come pick them up, it's very normal. Okay. I don't know if I can drive a car right now, and that's why we're gonna.
So, and then when someone covers their neck like this, she put her hand on near her throat. That's a protection mechanism. I hadn't noticed that before. Usually.
Okay.
My two friends that I was with for lunch, but they don't even tell me how did they find where I was. I don't know. I mean, did they just search for my car? Like, I'm just amazed at meeting with two girlfriends. They're both psychiatrists. Okay. So they'd probably be good people to talk to. Okay. One of them is a child psychiatrist. So she might be a good person to talk to, especially about how to talk to her boys.
So she's just thinking of this now?
Yeah.
Covering your face can mean things as well. She went from this to this to this in that short time. So it's kind of interesting. Now I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. Can't remember how long. I think somebody comes right back, but we'll just do that. Any thoughts while we're fast forwarding right now? How are you feeling about things so far today?
Still about the same.
Yeah. I had forgotten that she put out there that one of the friends she was just having lunch with an hour or 2 hours before this was a child psychologist. Maybe that would be a person to go. You would think so. She seemed to immediately go to the detective. Who can I talk to about this? So I thought that was really odd. I wouldn't think of that. I would be like, where's my mom? Where's my, my best friend, Melinda or Sherry? I would be asking for people by name, not strangers, to help me with my children. I think that's very interesting. Let me see how long she's in there. Yeah, so she's not in here super long by herself. And by the way, I'm going to try and keep track of the time. Maybe if our time goes longer, because our live streams have been pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it, but I don't know if people's retention, because people can always come back and watch the second half at another time too, which I do with lots of live streams. But we could also do 15-minute segments instead of 30-minute segments and just make the live streams shorter too.
Okay.
So anyone in the audience, if you have preference, oh, hey, we got some comments here too. Okay, and Sophia, hi, Sophia from Judy. They drove her in the police car. Okay, hold on, let me grab these comments real quick because I forgot. I was not doing my job. Okay, sobbing seems really phony, Judy says. It does seem phony. And Sophia agrees. And Judy, she said they found her through her cell phone, so they would have had the ability to grab her. I forgot what it's called when the police do that, but they can find people pretty quickly via getting those cellular requests. Okay. Nobody really keeps covering their face and gesturing so much with hands. It's like contrived acting is what she's saying. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yeah, that way. Sophia likes the long videos. Okay. So there we have our first vote. And the volume is very soft. It is all the way up.
Okay.
And the interrogator, or not the interrogator, the social worker support advocate person is very quiet.
Okay.
Oops.
Thank you.
Get that. Of course. I thought it was kind of quiet too.
Department of Financial Services, maybe. It's not DVPR, it's might be DFS, but her husband and I are close to, like, friends with the family. Her husband's name is Alan Grossman, Allen, and he has his own law firm in town, so he should be really easy to find. It's like Grossman, Furlow and Bio, maybe.
You know what street it's off of, by chance?
Rhonda.
Okay, that's good.
But you can find him and find that number, and he's usually at work. I'm trying to think, all of my really, really close friends live out of town. But
I'm gonna try to do just some Google stuff real quick, and then I'll come back. Okay.
we really should start memorizing more phone numbers. I used to
You
know.
know, it's just technology that makes it easier for us.
I'm going crazy in this white room.
I'm sorry, I know it's not the.
It's not like pictures of my
No,
cousin
no.
ever. I just feel like I'm at a Twilight Zone, and I keep picturing the kids like at a funeral having to say goodbye to their dad, and I just
take
can't
it one
believe
step
I
at a
have to do this to them.
He's not dead yet.
Right.
She's picturing a funeral. Okay.
Do you want me when I find the numbers? Is it okay if I call your
Yeah.
friends?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
well, and I can go and tell them
I
that
could
you.
really use some help
Okay.
taking care of the boys tonight.
Of course.
I'm trying to think of who else I would call. My closest friend in town is on vacation right now with her family.
Well, we'll start with Lynn and see kind of where we get from there.
Okay.
How many times has she asked for help with the boys tonight already?
Yeah. A few.
Yeah, already.
It's like she doesn't know how to be a parent by herself.
Right. And she does really rely on her mom a lot for that, which is supposedly why she wanted to move to Miami to be with them. So here you hear this breathing. doesn't,
The fake sobbing.
it's coming out. It's a hyperventilation type of thing.
Mhm.
It's just very odd, and it does seem like she's trying to bring it on herself. Again, the reason we're not seeing throughout is because you would pass out if you kept doing that.
Right.
I have a question. Do you want to be in touch with your friends and discuss if they take the tickets first, or
Oops.
Just because it's 4:15 now, I didn't know part of why it would be like that.
I just don't know. Especially I don't want to traumatize them, but they're about to get fully traumatized. Oh,
And they can take them home.
right. I just don't know what would be less upsetting for the boys. Like,
So she's saying, and I think this is, I'd love to hear what you think. I don't want to traumatize them.
Then maybe you shouldn't have killed their dad.
Well, but how does she go from you're telling them, you know, traumatic news and traumatic information that naturally they're going to be traumatized by, to I don't
Sure.
want to traumatize them. And then she switches to haha with her little laugh, which she does a lot. Maybe means nothing, but I mean, how do you do that when they're going to be traumatized? But I would love to know if anyone feels like this is a consciousness of guilt, another one of those
Yeah.
statements. Okay.
Yeah.
Where she's actually admitting guilt.
I like what I would most like.
Or we can make arrangements with the school and just say, look, it's gonna be a little late, you need to work with us, and mom and a friend will
I
come.
think they do keep it open till like 5
Okay.
So what I would most like would be to pick them up myself and have someone with me in case I don't feel like I can drive well.
That's fine. And Lynn would be your first option
Lynn
to
would
come
be
here.
my first choice,
And you're-
or Alan, her husband.
Okay. And you're okay with me speaking with them and telling them to come here
Yeah,
first? And
we let my car is.
we have the cars here.
Oh, they got it here.
I think they were bringing it here.
I
And I
have-
think,
Did they take my keys? How did they get the car here?
I know.
I guess you guys.
Well, I may be wrong. I thought, and Investigator Isom, it may still be at the other place, was gonna touch base, oh, okay, I may be wrong, was going to touch base with you about, because I know he's done a bunch of different stuff as far as doing your hands and all that stuff, to see if you'd be willing to let us look in your car to see if there's anything, you know, okay.
Search the
And
car.
so he'll have another form for you.
That's fine.
Okay, so I will call them again. The question is, I will not tell them what's going on until they get here. Okay, I just didn't know them driving, are they good friends with him as well?
They've been mutual friends, but they were my friends.
Okay.
And I think everyone's gonna be done.
Sure, and maybe I'll just say that you're up here, you're fine, but they need to come pick you up, and then we can do that here, you know?
I mean, I think you can tell them when you need help.
That's
Picking up the boys.
Yes.
Because of what's happening. Like, I think you can tell them why
Okay.
you need them.
That's fine.
And that's fine.
She said she found the van, searching van and stuff when,
Do you
yeah,
want-
because we were talking about that.
All right.
I will take care of this, let me.
Thank you. I don't know who that is.
she's sergeant with us.
Okay. That's very tender of me. Sorry.
That's right.
No, you're okay.
She's an advocate. She's a woman. You're welcome. I'll fill out whatever paperwork you want.
Right here.
Search the van. I can read it. Yeah.
So this time she can rate it. You're welcome. She hands over her keys, like, here, take my keys.
I'm sorry, as a lawyer, I would never let them
No.
search my stuff.
No, without her key, yeah. Hand over all this stuff.
No. You get a lawyer present.
100%. Yeah, but she feels like she's in total control of this.
And they're not going to find anything, is what she's thinking.
Right. And also, this is her owl shirt. You get a better view of the owl shirt when she's facing this earlier. I meant to point that out.
Yep.
We got an alternative to the kids. I mean,
Right now, Joanna's calling a lot of her friends and gave us and trying to see if they can have the friend come here
Right.
and then they can go together and pick up the children. That way she'll have the support system.
Right, absolutely. The receipt you just rolled up, what was that for?
That was lunch. I was trying to find the receipt from the bourbon, but they may have put it with the bourbon. This is from yesterday. It's lunch. But these are old ones.
What is
Bring
she,
the
why are we
receipts.
pulling out receipts?
Yeah, she's
Nobody-
bringing the receipts. She wants to make sure she has all the,
Nobody
the
asked for it.
or her keys. Nobody asked for her keys. Mm-mm.
Okay.
She's so helpful.
The bourbon, I must have put it in the bag.
Super helpful until they really wanted to talk to her and she
Can I hold on to this
disappeared.
one for a second? What's this?
I just didn't want you to think I was crumbling up other receipts.
No, it wasn't for that. I just was thinking before.
I just thought I would find the bourbon one.
Guilty conscience.
That's right.
And then what is she saying about the bourbon from yesterday?
She just said the bourbon. I didn't think she said yesterday.
Okay. Okay.
The receipts for the bourbon. You
Okay.
know, it's almost as if she might have thought through how this might have gone down ahead of time. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh man.
What if you're watching this, let us know if you think that she might have been prepared.
In my house, so I have my many spare keys to give to friends around town, so I don't get locked out of my house again.
Okay.
So that's what that is. My many spare keys that are now around Tallahassee, which now makes me nervous.
Okay. So, I know the
So
receipt
funny.
that I might be interested in is the gas receipt.
Oh, I asked for no receipt,
Okay.
so I can give you my
That's okay.
charge card information, but
If I need it later
I
on,
didn't get a receipt.
that's all right.
Okay.
But you bought the bourbon over there sometime after Danny. All right.
It should be, the bourbon's in the car, so
Okay.
it should be in there.
Okay. I'll get started on this. And we'll hold on to this.
Are you bringing the car here?
Yes, it's all right. I think it's already here.
How did they bring it here without
Tow truck.
keys?
Tow
Tow
truck.
truck.
Okay. We're trying to be as efficient as possible. All right, so we're working on the
Yep, Joanna's trying to make contact now with some friends.
okay, and then they'll come here hopefully.
Hopefully as long as she needs.
Do you think I need to? I had like a whole weekend of plans ahead with the kids and stuff. Like, should I start contacting people and let them know that like I can't?
Just
What's a good idea?
I
just like I can't show up for like play dates right now. So
sure.
I don't know, like you want me not to tell people?
I can't show up for play dates right now, but she didn't have any play dates scheduled for this afternoon. She said that Dan was going to pick him up and take him swimming and that she had a
Yeah.
stock the shelf party tonight. So
Some of
She's
the
think-
stuff that she's worried and concerned
Think-
about is so off.
right. She's already thinking ahead. She's preparing ahead
Yeah.
as if she might have known what already happened. Maybe, maybe not. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well,
I got that call from Lisa Perry, so like how did she find out?
she said she saw something in Everett or heard
She
something.
said she heard there was a shooting on Trescott. I thought because she's a real estate agent, maybe she was rolling around and she.
Again, you notice this time she said no with her head going back and forth. We want to always make sure we notice when she's saying something in the negative and she's actually nodding in the positive, or when she's actually being possibly honest and saying no. This is the third time I'm counting now so far. I think at least the third where she's asking for information. At least the third.
Saw Trescott, but how did like is it on the news? Like did
Well, I can tell you that there was news media out there with cameras, but I don't know if anything has been reported as to the specific address.
okay.
I don't know what our public information office has released.
I'm asking for you, like
Okay.
I don't want to like make this.
She wants to know what she can tell people or what
I would say that for right now, I would not deny to anybody that something did happen, but
But
you
if
could,
I'm gonna call and cancel all my, like, I was supposed to be at a party tonight, like,
okay, I can't go, there's been an
so I
incident
can
that's
just
happening.
tell people, I'm just not gonna be able to be there, I'll talk to you later, and that's
Right.
it. Okay,
That's fine.
okay,
I don't want you not to have a support network of friends.
yeah,
And
well, I
they're,
want Tom needs to know, but like,
Right.
I also, I don't,
I want to explain this to 1,000 people.
well, it's not about, it's yes, but I don't think that's good for the kids, like, I don't want people, I don't know what to do about, like, the kids are really young, I don't know what to do in terms of that reaction, but I also am kind of scared that there's like some maniac out there, and I would like for you to find whoever that is, so I don't wanna make things worse in some way in terms of you being able to find someone.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
just, I would just only tell the people that need to know, that are
Okay.
closest to you for your
Covering her neck here.
benefit, and anyone else, if they inquire, you can tell them any excuse you want. You can say, the police have asked me not to discuss it.
Okay,
It's as simple as that.
tell me what they're about.
Okay, I'm used to that.
Okay. That's it, I swear I'm just blowing my nose.
You're all right.
Sarah, your job is very hard.
It is.
You have a very nice personality for it, very calming.
Thank you for saying that. That's kind of how I feel myself sometimes. I'm doing this.
It's really hard. Do you know Gwen?
What Williams?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think we did a presentation at a Red Cross when your friend came.
Sure.
Yeah. Because
That's how you swear me?
yes.
Yeah, that was me.
I thought so. Because when they were kind of telling me, the rest of you talked with, I was like, that sounds familiar.
But I had the boys there that morning, and that's why I like talked.
And I remember you talking about your voice actually too.
Well, it's good to see you again.
Sorry, I'm sick.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a nightmare.
This isn't something that someone really wants to go through.
We were divorced, it wasn't good, but like, this is never something you would ever want to happen. I understand why I'm a suspect. I guess I'm not a suspect. I understand why you would think that I would do this.
Boom.
She's never been called a suspect, not once.
How many times has she said this?
Yeah.
And I didn't pause during this time, but Judy brings up a super great point about how, I just want to be helpful and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And then she takes off. Like she just has not cooperated since.
And I also think it's interesting how from like the second the detective left the room, like all of a sudden she goes back into friend mode, like that we're just
She's
here
like,
to hang out and like, oh, your job must be so hard. Like
I saw that.
it's just
That's
weird.
interesting you said that. Yeah, it was a really interesting transition. She goes from here to, and she looks down, okay, and goes, Sarah, boom. Like total focus, total preparation, transition. Sarah, your job must be really hard. So
Yeah.
it doesn't come from the heart.
No.
It's coming from, preparation. Now, sure, she might be, because she's familiar with public speaking and talking with people and all that, could be a professional way she does things professionally to transition from one conversation to another, but it doesn't seem like somebody who's emotionally distraught to me, and that it seems real quite together, in my opinion.
It's so like she flips a switch depending on the person who she's with. It's bizarre.
Yes, and the way she changes emotions from hyperventilating to totally together and being super helpful, and then all of a sudden hyperventilating again. The way she can switch on and off expressions. We talked about that earlier on. So yeah, it's interesting you're noticing all that. I'm glad you are. Not just me.
So sorry for this family. kid who are now going to grow up without a father. I feel like Danny would do this, and I feel like they're out there. And if they're capable of this, like, what's to keep them from going after the kids? Like, if they hate Danny, then why wouldn't they hate his children?
Who said anyone about hating Danny personally? Who said that? I don't. I mean, at this point, it could be a drive-by shooter or a road rage situation. She makes it very personal here. Who hates Danny?
Yeah.
And he's still alive. I'm just going to say it again. I might say it 25,000 times right now, but he's still alive in the hospital. So Antoine
But her kids
says,
have to grow up without a father, and it's just so heartbreaking.
yeah, looking for like super adjusting to the future really quickly.
Yeah.
Antoine says, the second time the detective came in, I noticed her act came down a bit. She has seemed to feel assured that she's not a suspect and that they were believing what she said. So yeah, very good.
And they're doing this investigation now to kind of figure out what happened.
He didn't do it to himself the way he did it.
Third or fourth time she brought up suicide.
Suicide. Yep.
You're like, he's a really toxic guy. It wasn't him.
Just compared to the list, you probably know him very well, probably better than anyone else does.
Except for the last 2 years. Like, I don't know specifics of, like,
Right. And I'm going to pause because Judy makes a really great point here, because at this point, when she's saying who would do this, who would hate him, this is all the while she's fully aware that her brother was joking
Yeah.
distastefully about hiring a hitman because they were so angry with she admitted they were so angry with Danny.
Right, because personal life, you don't know his personality. Personalities usually don't change very often. So,
yeah. I'm gonna have a hard time not being sad in front of the boys. I need to tell them today, don't I? Have you done this before? Doesn't
Have
matter
I
if you've
told-
done this
have
before.
I told children? No, I have not as young as your boys.
What do I tell them?
You know where your boys are at. You know kind of what you talk to your boys, and I know they're so young, some parents have conversations and things like that. And some haven't at that age.
We had our first conversation about that yesterday.
We had our first conversation about God yesterday.
That's convenient.
What's on her lap? Is that her purse? Or it almost looks like a
Uh-huh.
pillow, totally covering her vital organs.
Midsection.
Yeah, that's important.
Protecting.
Yes.
Ever. And then he's looking into his car seat, and then out of nowhere says, Bobby, I bet Abba knows a lot more about God than you do.
Whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
So they work together.
Did you hear that? Because it's quiet. I didn't know if you heard it.
Yeah, somebody knows a lot more about God than you do.
Yeah, so she had just said we had our first conversation about God, and her son says, well, I bet Abba, meaning Danny, their father, knows
Okay.
a lot more about God than you do. I'm sorry, I don't know where I was when that just happened. I don't know what I clicked, so sorry about that.
They have the boys there that morning. That's why I talked to
And I
them.
remember you talking about your boys after too.
Sorry, people.
And I said,
No, you're good. Right there.
different people have different beliefs about God. So we get to the car, and Dad was like, "Is God a man or a woman?" I said, "Well, some people believe that he or she is an old white man with a long white beard." And Lincoln, this 3.5 said, "God is dead."
And it's Ben's your oldest Ben, and then who's your 3.5-year-old?
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
And I said, Lincoln, I was like, it's like Nietzsche in the back seat. It's like Lincoln who's still in diapers, but is having a sophisticated conversation about God. And I just was laughing and laughing, and they were asking such interesting questions, and I was answering them with like, different people think different things, and but it was just our first time we ever had a conversation. Really, they talk about superheroes a lot, and so sometimes they'll joke, they'll fall over and be like, "I'm dead." And I say, "I really don't like it when you say that." And they've talked about like animals being like, "He's dead," like on the ground. And they even quasi understand Lincoln's named after my grandmother, and his initials are LJ, so his initials are LJ. He would say to my mom, who's still very heartbroken over the loss of her mother, he'd say to her, like, "Is your mommy dead?" She'd say, "Yes, you're named after him." And he'd say something like, "Well, is she in heaven then?" Like, so they have some fleeting concept of things like
They know heaven.
I mean,
Her husband, Dan, the one who was murdered, was extremely involved in his religion and a devout Jew and practicing at his synagogue. So she's acting like these kids never had any kind of exposure to any kind of religion here.
Yeah. Yeah. But he would take them with him to the synagogue, like often.
Yeah, once in a while I'd go, clearly.
Yeah.
And let me just kind of back. I'm not sure what investigator I some kind of told you. You know that he's still alive.
no, I don't know that. Is he possibly gonna make it?
Did you
she
hear
just
that?
say
I know it's
he's
kind of
still
quiet.
alive?
Did you know he's still alive?
Yeah,
And
sorry,
she
I was
says,
yawning
"No,
in
I
the
didn't.
middle, but
No, I didn't know that." She clearly knew that. That was such a tell. Like, bam. Did you know he's still alive? Yeah, and we've been screaming about it all, for 2 hours
yeah.
here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's still alive.
I don't know the answer to that. I
He
know.
made it sound like he was gone. So
No, he didn't.
does that mean that he
No.
might be okay?
Does that mean that he might be okay? You're just asking this now and you're already talking about his funeral. Okay, this is just wild. This is crazy.
I don't think, from what it sounds like, I don't think he'll be
The same. Okay, but he might make it.
I don't want to give you that false.
I'm sorry, I just
No,
thought
it's
you
okay.
guys on and now I don't know what to tell. It's sort of a game changer.
I know, and that's why I was kind of asking you.
I didn't know that. He
I
made it
I
sound
don't.
like
You would think there'd be some joy here.
And if
Oh.
he's still alive, why are we not going to the hospital? If they're saying,
Why
"No,
are
I
we
don't
here?"
want to give
Yeah,
you
I
that
need to go
false
see him.
hope,"
That's right.
I should probably
No
bring my
joy.
boys to see him because there's might still be some time.
This is just crazy. This whole little section here is just full of gems, full of gems. And this isn't even the
Oh
detective.
man.
But you can be 100% sure that people are watching this interrogation through the cameras.
he made it sound like he was gone.
I don't think it's
He said he wouldn't make it. He didn't say he made it sound like he was gone at all. So she's
Right.
twisting the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of what he said, but I assumed he was saying that like euphemistically.
and that's why I'm kind of asking, because I didn't want, and I don't want to be misleading
Is
in
there
this
any way to
conversation.
find out? It's like, because if he might be okay, like I want to bring the kids to him so that they can.
And that's kind of stuff we'll talk about in a little, but let me ask him.
I just think that's different, right? Like, if
No,
he's not gonna make it, he can see the kids one more time, but he should see them. So, is there like, are we getting updates from the hospital?
They have been, they were at the hospital. Obviously, when, something like this happens, they can go to the hospital.
How did this? So when it happened, did someone call the police because they heard a gunshot or something?
Okay, so now she's looking for information. Now she starts seeking. Now, just remember, I just want to remind our audience, in case you're just joining us for the first time today, this interrogation started at 2:10. It's now 4:35. 2:10 local time, and you can see the clock here. It says 4:35 p.m. So 2 hours and 15 minutes in now, she's wondering, is it a good idea for the kids to come see him?
Like, how would they know like, did he call the police? How would they know to take him to the hospital?
I don't know the answers to all these, and I'm not, I'm gonna let, when Investor Eisen comes back in here, I'll let you kind of ask some of those questions.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
but I didn't want you to think, I'm sorry, I just didn't want you to think that he was,
I thought he was gone.
and that's what I was getting from your conversation, and I didn't want it to be.
I thought he was gone.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
If he's still alive, I need to make different choices. I want the voice to be with him. I don't know. I mean, if he was scary, then
Right, and that's what,
is that why? Does he look scary? Is that why?
I don't know, I haven't seen him.
Because I think that would be more traumatizing for the kid.
Does he look scary? No one said where he was shot. Did they say where he was shot at this point? I might have lost track. Did he say he was shot in the head?
No.
I didn't think so.
Nope.
Maybe somebody told her what he looked like.
It's to see like something horrible. I don't want them to.
And I will say, from a victimatic perspective, I always recommend people not, especially young children.
They're so little. I mean, they're gonna, like, I want them to have. If it's gonna have to be memories, I want them to be good. Because their last memory would have been taking them to school this morning. This morning. Is the police officer still at school? Like, are the boys safe there right now?
I don't know the for sure answer to that, but I do know that they checked on them.
I know they checked on them, but like, they can. I just want to make sure they're okay.
Let me go talk and let me ask them that for you. There's no reason for them to think that anything's going to happen to your boys right now, okay?
Okay.
And I just want you to know that there's no indications that.
But why would someone do this? Like, why would they just come after my whole family?
I give you your concern. I do. I just want you to know though, like, there's no, if there was an.
I mean, there's no indication some crazy person was gonna kill Danny, so why would they not think someone was gonna, like, anything can happen, right?
From what I'm, that there was someone that was at school.
I think they didn't find anyone like running away.
I don't know that answer. Okay? I'm sorry. I know I'm giving you a lot of, I don't know.
I know I'd rather not than to make something up, but I just have no idea what's happening right now.
When you go see, try to talk to Investor Eisen and see if he can give you a little bit
Okay,
more clarity.
okay, thank you.
Okay. So this is probably a good stopping point. Well, we can keep going. We still have an audience here. So what do you think? Do you want to keep rolling, Katie?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I have my window, so I can't see you right now. I can only see you. Okay, we'll keep going. I'll fast forward until somebody comes back.
Yeah, that whole clip was very fascinating. Like,
Yeah, it was. And look at her right now. Like those
Uh-huh.
wheels are turning. Those wheels are turning. She, and then thinking right now, which,
yeah,
you
he's
know.
not dead yet.
Mm-hmm. I think it almost would appear, and I don't know anything. I mean, I'm just offering my opinion from an outsider, of course, but it almost would appear that she was told by someone else that he was shot in the head and killed, and then the police came, and so she just assumed he was gone because she's been operating under that kind of framework the whole time, because we've been saying, why does she not want to go to the hospital? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's backtracking a little to oh, he said he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This is
will
interesting.
give her the benefit of the doubt on like if he looks scary. Like I just think about people being shot and like with all the tubes and
Sure.
seeing somebody in hospital like that. Maybe
Sure.
that's what she's referencing versus being shot in the face.
Right.
Give her a little benefit.
Right.
I don't know.
Sure. No, it's good. It's best to give the benefit. There's enough here where you can do that and still have a lot to go on.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's the way to do it in any case. And if you were a juror in a trial, that's what you would need to do.
Yeah.
You can't just go in and say, well, I know what happened. I've seen all this stuff and I don't believe her. You would have to look at things objectively. And
Yeah.
I thought I'd sped this up. Oops. They don't leave her alone for very long, like they do with some.
I tried Lynn's office, and she said, we're doing Friday, so she wasn't here. I called, and not yet.
This is
I
the
called
third
Alan,
person.
Sergeant Ball.
Mhm.
Sorry. And I spoke with his secretary. He didn't answer his cell phone. I did get a hold of Jane. Okay, so she is on her way. Okay, and I'll keep trying Alan. They were sending him a whatever message to his phone, so he will probably call me. No, I told her I didn't want to tell her over the phone. I said, I'm sorry, I'm being cryptic. Something's happened with her ex-husband and she needs you to be here and we need help to pick up the kids and you're free to go with her when she gets here. We'll work on car seats. They may be done doing what they need to do with your van when she gets here. So y'all can take your car or we can get the car seats, however we need to do it. Okay? Do you want anything to drink? Or, I know that's probably the last thing on your mind, but anything to drink or snack, or I know you were at lunch, but smart. Okay, thank you. No problem.
You got somebody
Yep, she's on her way.
up there, where's she going?
She's coming here,
Okay,
and then I told her we would figure it out from there. She doesn't have car seats, so we need to work
you
that
get
out.
a couch, because he's doing the van,
Okay.
and they can move the car seats over to.
Yep. And I didn't know if we'd be done or what, but we will get those.
Yeah. All right. This is trying to keep you informed as much as possible. Trying to be in as much places at once.
Your other one said you can't have your tickets in 2 places at once.
That's true. That's true. Here's,
I'm losing my mind over here.
okay, this is the thing. All right. I'm my understanding. Okay, I'm going to give you the let me do it backwards because this is easier, or not backwards, but the other way.
Is he still alive?
Clinically, he's not going to live.
What does that mean?
He has a
Is he brain
severe,
dead?
yes, is a severe brain injury. It's apparently there's too much damage to recover from.
Okay, stop.
We could get a hold of.
Okay.
Severe brain injury does not lead me instantly to somebody shot him in the head.
Boom! I agree. Thank you. I didn't want to, that's how I feel. So, since I've seen this interrogation more than once, I didn't want to put that in there. It's interesting you came up with that too. Exactly. She went right there. Again.
Right there.
Which kind of again supports the possible theory that might she have already known this before she was taken in by the police. Gee,
Right.
I wonder how that happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, audience, what do you think? Do you think she knew? All right.
I don't know what his I don't know if he has an advance directive or what he would have wanted. He once told me that he would want we joked, I said I would want to be if I was ever, I have an advance directive. I do this kind of work, I run a medical legal partnership. If I once said if I ever was brain dead, I would want to be I'd want the plug pulled. And he said he would want all efforts made. He would be cryogenically frozen. He wanted every single effort that could be made to keep him alive. I know that much.
My understanding, and that's what we'll have to get a hold of the family as soon as possible, but my understanding is there's irreparable damage. There's nothing that can be done. I mean, I'm not there, I wasn't there, but I understand from previous cases that the brain, his brain is damaged beyond repair. There's nothing that can be done for that.
Is he still alive? Should I bring the kids to see him?
No. has severe facial damage. I'm sorry, I mean, I know this is tough, but I would not want my children to see.
Okay, I just thought I got this inkling that maybe he was like still somewhat conscious and I
No.
wanted him to get to be with them and that. Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry about that, but that's
Okay.
that's the way it is. They, like I said,
Okay.
there's severe injury, trauma.
Okay.
All right,
Is
so
there someone like, is there a doctor like working on him or are they just,
there's doctors at the trauma bay, the ER.
Yeah.
I think he's been transferred to ICU.
okay,
All right, and they'll have to make a determination about organs.
oh my
and
God,
so forth.
oh,
So, hence, hopefully we can.
okay, the kids, yeah, the
All right,
kids,
now let's talk about the kids. Okay.
okay,
I just want a quick pause because, of course, Sophia says, of course she knew. Of course, we know this now. But what I try to do for an intellectual, I guess, exercise, and also for people who don't know all of the evidence that we know from the trials that are yet to come, if you were just came in off the street and didn't know anything about this case and you saw this interrogation, would you say, of course she knew? I mean, that I think a lot of people have done that and they haven't seen anything else, but I'm just curious about that. And of course, Sophia says, Luis said when Sigfredo called Magbanawa to tell her job is done, she said she knew who told Katie Magbanawa before Sigfredo did. And she thinks that would be Wendi. So again, this is stuff that came up later, and that's a really great point, Sophia. But we're just looking at the interrogation like as Katie has never seen anything, doesn't know anything about this trial before. So, and the fact that Katie's even saying this seems fishy in so many cases, and she probably did know. Am I putting words in your mouth, Katie? It seems like she knew.
No. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially because she went right from head injury to shot in the head. that was it.
weird.
That if you had any doubts, yeah. So those are great points, Sophia. Yep. And Sophia says, yeah, when she first saw this interview the first time, she thought Wendi was faking emotions.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know who the contact person was. Was it one of the ladies that you were eating with?
no, I thought I wasn't supposed to contact them, so I didn't ask about those two because I thought,
What?
Yeah.
anyway, I asked two other women I'm friends with.
What?
Why? What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Again, it seems like something really well thought out in advance. Where did you come up with that one?
Yeah.
So much here. So much.
Do they have, does the daycare place have to be contacted to allow her to?
Oh, I kind of thought I would go with her.
Okay, here's the thing. All right. As soon as this phone comes back,
Yeah.
I have to ask you some questions about I've already known about the phone.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for?
It would be weird for Jane to Jane likes the voice a lot, but it would be better for Lynn to pick them up just because Lynn has picked them up before. Like when Danny had a back surgery, they call her Aunt Winnie. They're really close with her. If we could get her cell phone number,
Right.
or her father, we can probably a little frustrated. They're not friends. Yeah. I mean, Jane's a therapist. Like, she'd be very comforting. She has 2 kids of her own. She'd be fine. But I'm trying not to freak the kids out any more than necessary. So, Lynn or Alan, her husband, Alan or Lynn would be the best choice.
You don't have a number by heart for them?
Let me go check with Joanna and see
Please.
where she got, if she got far with them.
The reason being is,
You need to talk to me.
yes,
Okay.
and you've been great. I mean, you understand exactly how we have to do things. And I haven't had to explain a lot of stuff, but really, I feel the need to, I really want you here.
Okay.
If you know, and you're not under arrest or anything like
I
that.
understand why you
But
think I'm the primary suspect.
No, you're not the primary suspect. I have to work just as hard.
Now it's the primary?
Now it's the primary suspect. It's like, what is this, number 5? I should have been counting how many times. She's again trying to diffuse the situation. She's trying to diffuse.
Whether you were or you were not,
Okay, I
okay?
understand.
To show what your activities were.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And let's put it this way. I think you're a straightforward person. And I think at this point, if you had anything to do with this, you'd have already told me.
Okay.
And you haven't.
And she did.
So my thing is.
She told you her brother
let's
did.
let the-
My ex-husband caused me a lot of grief. I would never do something like that.
And it's
So
gonna,
I understand why I would be the person you think would do something,
well,
but
we have to work just as hard to eliminate it.
it's fine. I want to figure out who this is because I'm honestly worried.
Well, let me ask you, if you found out that this was someone that you personally know, would that change your mind about what should happen to that person
Not much happened to that person.
for prosecution purposes?
No.
Is there any way that you would think
If
somebody,
somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
regardless of who it is?
I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother, but I don't think it was my.
Of course, my brother shouldn't be prosecuted, but you know.
Anybody else should be prosecuted, but not my brother. What?
What?
And obviously the cops know, like, they must think that it's somebody, it's either her or related to her, or they would have never asked that. So what do they know already?
I think mostly what they know is at this point, let's see, it's 4:48, so they'd be 5 hours, almost 6 hours from the shooting. By now, I'm trying to think of when Mrs. Markel said that the police talked to her. Believed by now, because it was 3 hours. It's the same time zone in Toronto, actually. It's about now, but just based alone on her own words in the last 2 hours, he could have come up with that question, because there are people
Sure.
who are listening to the interviews, and then the police will step out all the time in interviews. I have to go do this and I have to make that call. But really what they're doing is they're checking with the people who really know what's going on and who are listening to the questioning and saying, here, ask her this next. You might want to ask
Sure.
her this next. So
Yes.
this is just such a bombshell right here. Bombshell. Okay. And that was at 4:48 p.m.
Anyone outside my immediate family, that's a tough one. But I don't think my immediate family did this. So if it's
Except that's who you've mentioned 3 times, the brother?
anybody else,
Would you think that this guy, Charlie, would be capable of doing something like this? Let's just talk.
he's a joker.
All right.
Such a joker.
The fact that
And also she transitioned from the brother to my
To
immediate
the
family.
whole, yep.
My immediate family. He didn't say anything. He just left. That was an open-ended one, and she very conveniently filled in the blanks.
the clock is already ticking. All right. And we have to do as much work as possible up front. That's why I want you to stay here, if at all possible.
Okay.
But you're these children's mother. And if they have
I
somebody,
can't freak him out, you know? Like,
nobody's gonna freak them out.
I know, I'm just saying, like, my kids, like, they're already gonna have to deal with so much. Like, they're gonna wonder where I am. And
Okay, before we go on to that part, I have a question for you, Katie. Again, remember, audience who's watching, who is maybe, let us know if you're watching, whether you're watching live or in the replay, if you're already familiar with this case or if you're looking at this new, fresh, like Katie is for the first time. Do you think it's possible that maybe she didn't know the details about what happened this morning, but she knew enough to know that it was a conspiracy that involved her brother, and that she's actually trying to throw him under the bus because she really does feel like she's a suspect? because she's brought up being a suspect so many times. She's brought up her brother so many times. You think she's just trying to throw her brother under the bus? Possibly.
I don't know. I don't think she can. I don't think she honestly thinks she's a suspect, even though she said it multiple times, because she has all of her alibi and ducks in a row. Like, she's like, obviously, I'm not a suspect. Like, she doesn't say I'm not a suspect, but like, she knows. She's like, you think that I'm the prime suspect, but I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. There's another thing I
So,
thought of. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Just that she's a lawyer and she knows that if she's lacing those comments about not being a suspect enough times throughout the interrogation, she can later on say, well, this shouldn't be allowed in court or to be used against me because they didn't tell me I was a suspect. They specifically said I was not a suspect.
Sure. Yeah, that very well could be too.
Which is not going to get her real far, but she might be thinking in somewhat lawyerly terms. And Sophia says Wendi wanted to divert attention to Charlie, so she mentions his name. Yeah, I mean that's what I think. She's if somebody has to go down for it, it's not going to be her. It's going to be Charlie.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I get it now. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely.
I wouldn't want that person. I wouldn't trust her for.
The best thing would be Lynn and Alan to have them hang around with them. My friend Janine, I was with two women. One of them is they're both doctors, but one of them has kids that the boys are friends with, and so like he could go over their house. They could go over their house and spend time. I don't want them like, where's mommy? What's
Mommy's
going on?
busy. Mommy's busy, can't come here right now. Will that suffice?
For a little while, yeah.
All right. Lynn, do we have a number for Lynn?
Joanna tried to get in contact with her, left a message at Alan's office for him to call. They haven't heard back yet.
Do they page him? Like, do they have a?
Well, I know Jane's on her way here. And you just don't think she.
I mean, I think she'd be okay. I think I'd rather Jane. Jane has just never picked up the kids before.
Would the school have a problem with Jane picking them up?
Given the circumstances, no.
Okay, well, do they have to have authorization?
They probably do. I could call the school, and this is a very unusual circumstance. I could call the school and tell them I approved Jane McPherson to pick up the kids, and then.
Does she have a place to take them?
I mean, she has a nice house, a company, like
She
a
willing to do
child-friendly
that?
house.
I know she's on her way here.
She doesn't know what happened. I don't think. She just knows I'm here.
Let's get Jane's on her way here, all right, and the school's out on Farm. I'm assuming she lives up in the Northeast right now.
Quite an assumption. Yeah, she's off Waverly.
Quite an
The
assumption.
writers, both parents are around.
Let's have.
Did you catch that? What she said there?
No. Nope.
He said, I assume she lives somewhere. And she looks at her straight in the eye, brows lifted. Quite an assumption. It's pretty confrontational.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm. She's paying attention. She's paying great attention to details here.
Yeah.
And certainly not distraught. I mean, if you're that distraught, you're not, I don't know. In my opinion, this is all my opinion.
Jane, do you want me to talk to her or just tell her that, or have Joanna tell me? I'll talk to her.
I think someone should. Jane was a victim advocate too for a while. She's there. Jane McPherson.
McPherson,
My
what was
friend
she
Jane
an advocate?
in Gadsden. Maybe she wasn't. She's a therapist.
Okay.
Did she do something at the university now, or
She was the 1 million bones woman.
Okay, that's where I know it's came from.
Will you coordinate with her, let her call the school to have Jane pick the children up? I'm gonna redirect Jane to the school directly. It's
Creative preschool. It's on our right past. There's a Magnolia school, and then there's Creative on your right.
It's right up here, right?
It's on Tharp. There's a
out
couple.
west of town.
There's a couple really bad directions. If you were to go all the way up Tennessee,
Right.
and turn right, like on, I think it's Ocala, right where Super Andros is, and then you make a left on Tharp, you go up a little ways more, and it would be on your right.
Greater free school.
I'm gonna throw up.
I'm in the map when you need to.
Okay.
You wanna
Did
go
this
in
all
for
right?
it?
No, fine.
Okay, well, let me know if it's, I'm just gonna Google it, if that's okay.
Greater free school, yeah. Ugh.
Sophia says the same thing. If she's in this kind of a situation, it'd be hard to pay attention to details the way Wendi
It's like
does.
a whole cast of characters. You get Jane from One Lane Films. Were you involved in that?
I knew about it, I know I saw a lot of stuff on it,
Yeah.
I haven't done anything directly with it, but. Do you want me to talk to them first?
Still trying to make personal connections with this person.
Yeah, exactly. We're switching back to the friend mode. We're no
Mhm.
longer the suspect. Now we're the friend.
Were you involved with that? Yeah. Very odd. Who would be doing that in this situation? I mean, it seems unusual to me.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Chuck. This is Wendi Adelson's mom. Hi. I'm not gonna be able to pick them up today, but my friend Jane McPherson's gonna come. Is that okay? Her name is Jane McPherson. She's a petite woman with short blonde hair. Yes. She should have her idea if she's driving. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chuck. Are the boys doing okay? Okay. Well, that sounds great. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye. My kid's outside playing. Ben is in the blocks area playing with blocks.
They're only a year and a half apart, so they'll be like a year behind each other every time in school, right?
They have Ben's a July birthday, it's October, so they made up a little more space.
Okay. So like have because July he'll probably like a young baby in classes.
That was our, older. That's what we were supposed to talk about this morning, is like whether Ben should start kindergarten in the 20s, what you should do. And then he didn't call me back, which was weird.
He didn't call her back, but she delayed that conversation for a good week until this happened. Just by the way.
Yeah.
For those, and there's several
'Cause
people. Oh, go ahead.
Because she didn't have a voice. They couldn't talk. But
Yeah,
now it's
and then
his
there were
fault
other
because
excuses.
he didn't call her back.
Yeah, there were other excuses before that, and then all of a sudden she mysteriously lost her voice and wasn't able to speak with him. Probably would have not been able to pull it off, given what she knew was she likely knew was coming. We have several people watching, so please make sure you drop a like and say hi. Say hi. If you're shy, just drop a like button. That really helps me out to keep this channel going, and hit the subscribe button if you like this content.
Yeah. Let me see if is it Joanne or Joanna?
Joanna.
She said she's gonna bring some water.
Okay, let me fill that for you. Let me grab some more tissues too.
I've gone through.
Oh, I want to be around you. I just know if I was sitting here, what would I probably want? Not much, but I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, should we stop it here?
Okay.
And then we'll go
Stop for the
on.
day. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're at 4:54 and 51 seconds p.m. on July 18, 2014. Again, for those who are joining us later on, this is the full-length interrogation of Wendi Adelson just a few hours after her ex-husband was shot twice in the head. And it's a very interesting interview, and we're offering our personal opinion. We are not in the legal field. We're not in the behavioral sciences field. This is just two chicks talking about this interrogation and what some of and people do, of course, act strangely under strange circumstances for sure. And so we're just interested in hearing what you think as we react to this interrogation. So this is our third episode, right, Katie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And it just gets better.
There's more? Because I thought this last hour was nuts.
Right. Yeah. So it's a 5-hour experience. Right. 5
Crazy.
hours. Dan Markel is sadly the victim, and he is still alive this entire time in the hospital. She seems to go from thinking he's dead to thinking that there was hope that he might live, and suddenly having this realization that maybe she should think about bringing the kids to see their dad while he's on his deathbed. I don't know. I think I mentioned early on that would have been my first thought, but what do I know?
Yeah. And again, benefit of the doubt. Maybe she misunderstood the cop. I don't know.
It came up several times, though. It came up several times, and it's possible.
It
Sure,
did.
sure, it could be.
It did.
What? Okay, you're a mom. You've got kids. Again, I ask you to, and of course, we can never put ourselves totally in someone else's shoes, but even if he couldn't be in his room, if they couldn't see him, or it was not advisable to see him, first of all, the cop wouldn't know if he was bandaged up and
Right.
cleaned up and all that, right? He might,
Right.
but he might not. I think he was thinking about his face, that he might not be recognizable. So what about just being in the waiting room and being outside the hospital room, just being close to him? I mean, I personally would think I'd want to be at least in the hospital, especially when if he's going to die. So
I'm thinking that the 3-year-old won't know the difference, right?
Right.
Like, it's not that big of a deal to him. But the 5-year-old, I think later in life would be disappointed that he wasn't there for his dad.
Would remember, had he been there. At least I remember being in the hospital and he was in the other room. Right.
Yeah.
We didn't see him for whatever reason. And the 3-year-old might not remember it, but the 5-year-old would remember the 3-year-old being there.
Right.
So
that too.
To me, it just seems kind of strange not to want to be with the dad and the ex-husband and the father of my children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or at least have somebody there for him.
Right.
Because nobody's there. His family.
Can I call his friends? And now his family lived in Canada, but can I call his friends?
Yes.
Can I call his family? Can we
Yes.
get somebody there? Can we just hold on a second while we talk about, can this wait 5 minutes while I get to, before you take my phone? Yeah.
Yes.
All of that.
Yes.
In reading Ruth Markel's book over the weekend, it was many, many hours before, I think I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, that she would speak to him on the regular as he would drive up into his garage, and then they'd say goodbye. He'd say, I'm getting close. So they know they got to wrap up their conversation. And on this day, they wrapped up just a couple minutes earlier so he could call this person at the school, talk about this school issue that was on his mind about where his children were going to go to school. He was not happy with what she had done in terms of changing the school plans. And she would have been the person on the phone with him when this happened.
Yeah, I'm grateful that they hung up.
Yeah, she said she is too. But she also said it was dinner time in Toronto when she first heard from the police. Well, the husband heard from the police and contacted her, of course, right away. So I want to say it was dinner time. So it was probably 7.
Yeah.
And they told them that they got their information off of Facebook. So he probably went on Danny's Facebook account and tracked him down. So they didn't get it from Wendi. And I would just think I would be wanting to call people, not just sit there and chit chat. And she's so chatty, just so chatty.
Yes.
But that's me. We're all different. So I'd love to hear what you think. And if you're listening or replaying, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And we're gonna be back again next Monday. And I've mentioned all the legal disclaimers. There's a more elaborate one in the show notes here. I'd just love to hear what you think on all these things. Katie, any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Well, I'm going to give a couple final thoughts. So
Cool.
my husband, his dad passed away when he was 6, and he has a little brother who's 2, and it happened from leukemia. So I'm going to ask him later if he was at the hospital when dad passed away, because I honestly don't know that. But I will say, and it's a different circumstance because his mom and dad didn't get divorced or anything, but his mom made it a point to stay in contact with his dad's family, because that's still his dad's uncles, and that's still his grandparents, and that's still his cousins, even though dad's gone at such a young age. And so this with the whole Wendi, like, and my mother-in-law drives me crazy many, many times, but I have said many, many times, that's still my children's grandparents. So
Yeah.
I don't care what happens between her and I. It doesn't matter. I will never speak bad of her around my children, and I will make sure that there's always contact. And when they get old enough, if they want to make a different choice, so be it. But so this whole Wendi thing, like how she has deleted, the Markel's phone numbers out of her phone because they're divorced and whatnot, that's not okay, because that's still her kids' grandparents, So I don't understand that aspect of things. It blows me away how how these kids have zero contact with his side of the family, and her too.
And Katie, you may not know this, but I might have mentioned it, but yeah, since the murder, those kids, Wendi has made sure those kids don't see Dan's family at all. It's heartbreak. It's so heartbreaking.
It's no matter what happens between the parents, there's still kids involved.
Yes.
And it's gotta, at some point, we gotta put the kids first, So so it just blows me away that she didn't contact Dan's family and said there was an accident, or I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, to me, I agree. And to me, that feels like, and from all this strange, what she says, and also her body language, it really does kind of feel like it could be some consciousness of guilt. Like, let's say you were the person who was responsible. Would you feel kind of sheepish talking to them and facing them?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to call them. So yeah, very true.
Afraid of what they might say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
one of the other
very
things
interesting.
That Ruth Markel, Dan Markel's mom, says in her book is when she did get that call that he had been shot and that he wasn't expected to live, she told her uncle, who was her surrogate father, because she lost her father, and her father was like 42 when she lost him. And he said in Hebrew, he slammed, and this is a 97-year-old man. It was his birthday too, and he meant a lot to Dan. Dan had called him that day too, that morning. Slammed his fist down with great vigor like a young man and said, the in-laws.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of bad blood there between the two families, but yeah, you just know. Yeah.
He knew. I mean, he thought so. And she believes it contributed to him dying, and within 3 months of that time.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh yes, Stinky Q-Tip. Wendy's cry reminded me of Dahlia Dippolito. A lot of people have mentioned that. That also was a fake cry.
Okay.
And Stinky Q-Tip, thanks for joining us. Love your Facebook. These Facebook names, I mean, these YouTube names are so fun. Harvey is elbow deep, in her opinion. Stinky says Harvey is elbow deep as well. So, yeah. One would think, as close as this family was with one another.
Because Harvey is her dad.
Harvey is her dad. And remember, Wendi herself said, this wouldn't have been done without them discussing it with me first.
Yeah.
She inadvertently said that.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone caught that, but yeah, she inadvertently, because the police asked, well, would anyone have done this without your knowing or without talking to you first? I think he said. And she said, no, which I thought was very telling. Very, very telling an admission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts, Katie? And again, for those watching, Katie, this is Katie's first exposure to this entire incident and to these people. So it's kind of interesting to hear what people think. You know, I just find it fascinating. You know, and again, it's just our personal opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just those two bombshells about how he's brain dead, so he must have been shot in the head. And would you want like them to be fully prosecuted? Well, yeah, unless it was my brother.
Right.
Those two comments are just
or my immediate family, or my immediate family,
or my immediate family, but not my brother, or my immediate family.
Now,
those are just.
You may not know this, but that's a question that they often ask people who are suspects. It's not an uncommon question to hear in an interrogation room. The detectives will often ask, do you think the person who did this should be fully prosecuted? And
because they're referring to themselves, like to the suspect.
Usually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if they're a suspect. Yeah. Yeah. So in this case, I think the thinking probably was that Wendi, he even said, Wendi, we don't really think you're involved, but then later on they ended up naming her as a co-conspirator. So Stinky also says, wow, she has a lot of reading ahead of her. Oh yes, that meaning you can.
Yeah. Send it my way. Tell me what I need to read.
Well, we have a whole, if you want to read The Unveiling by Ruth Markel, that's a great book I read over the weekend. Let us know in the comments if you've read that book yet. Also, and Judy, the YouTube lawyer, did a great interview with Ruth Markel about her book. And it took me a while, like I said, to emotionally prepare for that because it's just so sad. It's all so sad. But there's also a playlist on my page. It's called Justice for Dan Markel, and there's a ton of material to go through. There's just a lot of video to go through. And like Judy, the YouTube lawyer, you can be multitasking and listen. You don't have to watch it. You know, that's why I love podcasts, but I also do a lot of YouTube podcasting. In other words, I just listen to what's going on. I'm not necessarily able to comment or anything, but I'm listening. So it's kind of, I recommend that. But maybe I don't want you to, I want you to be unvarnished.
Yeah, I'll wait until we're done.
Until we're done with the interrogation. Yeah. And then I'm going to just like throw everything at you.
Okay.
It's going to be great. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for joining us. We'll be back next week. I've been putting together some shorts on my page too. If you don't have a lot of time, there's a bunch of shorts that are on my page, and I try to release one every day. So maybe that's a good way if you can't handle the long form videos and the live stream. Certainly replay in segments, whatever, however you can do it. But yeah, it's and we really appreciate you being here. And Katie, I appreciate you doing this with me so much. It's been really interesting so far to introduce you to this, I'm sorry, I'm reading comments, to do this with me and to introduce you to something that you don't know yet. Katie is a true crime buff, but she wasn't familiar with this case. And yay, thank you. I love saying her name. Thank you, Stinky Q-Tip, for subscribing. I was looking like sub. Oh, yes, she's subscribed. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing, for hitting the like button. If you watch this video and you like it, of course, don't be disingenuous and hit it unless you do like it. If you don't like it and you need something to change, let us know in the comments because I am all ears. So for now, thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next week here. Same time, same place, Monday at noon Pacific time. Bye for now.
Bye.
you.